I just saved $1,800 on my cable bill, and let me tell you how I did it. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, where we teach seniors how to understand technology and save money on their cable bill. At Tech for Senior, everyone is a volunteer. We work very hard at producing our videos, and I notice a lot of you who watch many of our videos don't subscribe to the channel. I'd sure appreciate it if you'd subscribe and maybe even give us that like. It really helps the channel move ahead and allows us to continue making great videos for you. Thanks again. Now this video is going to be all about saving money, so you'll want to watch it. I'm going to talk about how you can save money on your cable bill or your internet services package in Canada and the United States. So there's something for both countries. Now, these are very challenging economic times for seniors. Seniors often have a limited budget, and if you've been to the grocery store lately, there's nothing limited about the price of groceries going up. So it is so important when we are looking at how to save money, we look at our cable internet services. There are big changes that you can make that will offer some great savings, and you just need to know where to look and how to go about this. That's what I'm going to talk about today in this video. Now, seniors have two disadvantages. The first is often they don't understand the technology. The second is they're very trusting. They just think because they've been with a company for a very long time that the company will do best for them. Both those situations lead to a lot of money being spent. I personally know a friend of mine lives in Ontario. They pay over $300 a month for their cable internet services. They're not even there for 6 months of the year. It's crazy. They could do so much better, but they just don't know where to turn or how to go about it. So let me again emphasize this video. If you want to save money, watch this video. I'm going to explain how to do it. So I'm going to go over the different internet service providers in Canada and the United States. The first one I know everybody's anxious to talk about, of course, is satellite with Starlink and Amazon's new project Kuiper that's coming online later this year. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this simply because, well, I think it's a great service, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this. It is a very good service. We don't know how Amazon's going to position this later on as their service comes online, particularly how they'll integrate it with people with Prime accounts. But needless to say, these services are really designed for rural use, people that don't live in large urban centers and don't have the advantages of the many different services available. So you'll find competitively that there are lots of cheaper services in urban areas than satellite internet. But if you're in a rural area and you're having a hard time connecting, go for it. It's fine, but it is going to be more expensive and probably slower speed than you'll be able to get in, as I said, an urban area. So the next service I want to talk about is DSL, or Digital Subscriber Line. It's an older service, it's much slower, and can be costly. It should be mostly avoided unless your internet needs are very minimal. There's two situations you want to be careful of, and the first is purchasing a condo in a building that has its own DSL system purchased and in that building. You may be getting yourself into a trap if your life revolves around internet like mine does. I was surprised to learn that DSL actually is still out there and is used by some internet service providers to provide service internet to your home. Now, this is problematic, and I would really want you to have a serious look at this and look at the competition, because I suspect you're paying a lot of money for a very poor and old service. So DSL requires a lot of thought, and don't get caught up in the, oh, well, I'm just going to keep it because I've always had it, because you're going to be paying a lot of money for something that's really not very good. The next service is, of course, cable. This is a big one. Most people are cutting the cord. And will Comcast have any customers at the end of the year, or will the last person turn out the lights and that will be it? So let me just talk about what cable is in 2024. Now, you've all heard about this cutting the cord and the many people that are leaving cable services and cutting the cord. Now, when we look at cable, you think of a coaxial cable that you'll see in the diagram here. Now, on the other side, you see a fiber optic cable. Now, the coaxial cable has a current running through it. The fiber cable has a light running through it. Quite different technology. And you would all be correct when you say, absolutely, the fiber cable is much faster. So let's look at how cable services are provided. Well, cable services on the pole and the transmission lines are all fiber optic. They move the data by fiber optic, the same as fiber companies, to the telephone pole outside your house. The connection then is made from a coaxial cable that goes from the telephone pole to your house and inside, and it's hooked up to a cable modem, and it's run by a software called DOCSIS. That's how the information is transmitted from the fiber line through the coaxial cable to your house, to the cable modem, and into your computer. All right, let's look at how a company offering fiber works. Well, again, there is fiber to the telephone pole outside your house, but then there's a fiber optic line that moves into the house and is connected to a fiber optic modem. Then this is connected to your computer. We'll be going over the differences between these two in a later video, but I just wanted you to know that that is how the system works. So when we talk about the difference in internet speeds between cable and fiber, it's that coaxial part that goes from the pole to your house that's different. Now, this technology has started up again. In fact, Google Fiber is starting to change and add cities to its map and will be adding fiber connections into different cities in 2024. But this is costly and often involves digging trenches, recabling, going through roads, under people's driveway. There's a lot of physical things that have to be done. The thing that's important to know is that the wireless technology has the capability of exceeding the speed of fiber. Yes. So I'm going to be talking about this in a minute, but 5G technology doesn't need any cabling. It's so simple to do. It's all done wirelessly. So let's talk about 5G technology and where we're going with this. So where you're going to be able to save the most amount of money is looking in the area of 5G technology. Let me explain how this works, but first we have to look a bit at the history. So what is 5G? What is 5G technology? Well, you all know that, of course, we're talking about wireless technology, cell phone technology. You all connect your cell phones, wirelessly to 2G, 3G, 4G, these G things, right? And what has happened in the last 7 years is there's been a new standard that is being developed, and that's called 5G. And I've done a number of videos about the technology behind that. I'm not going to go into that today, but you all understand it's faster than the old system. As you all know, about 5 years ago, all the major networks started to implement 5G technology. This was exciting, and some early adopters got right off the mark really quick. The problem came along with an organization called Five Eyes. You know, eyes like you see, Five Eyes. What are Five Eyes? Well, Five Eyes comprise 5 different countries: Great Britain, Canada, the United States, Australia, and New Zealand. And what this means is these countries share intelligence gathering information amongst themselves. We're very concerned about the company called Huawei. Now, Huawei is one of the largest telecommunication companies in the world that manufacture the technology and hardware. They were the industry leaders in 5G technology. Well, what happened is that there was concerns amongst the Five Eyes countries that this was not a good thing to have their security information going through a company that was owned by China. So what happened was they banned Huawei from providing hardware or software in these 5G in these Five Eyes countries. Now, this created a huge problem because some of those Huawei networks existed in Canada, the United States, and had to be removed at great expense. So what are the challenges now faced by the companies putting in 5G networks in Canada and the United States? Well, the first is that the hardware and software hasn't been invented, developed, discovered, whatever you want to call it. There just isn't the knowledge there that Huawei has. That was the first problem. There is no competition. Huawei was the best. So that put it at a disadvantage. And the second issue is cost. We're talking about enormous costs, billions and billions and billions of dollars that will be spent over the next 10 years converting all our networks into a 5G network. Lots of money involved here. So where is all the money going to come from? Well, the money's going to come from you. Yes. This transition needs to happen quickly because the countries that have the most developed 5G technology in the world today, of course, are China, which is now moving into their 6G technology, and Southeast Asia and India. These are the powerhouses around the world that has the most well-developed 5G and including into 6G networks. That also coincides to, of course, manufacturing. And you need a very advanced 5G network to compete globally in the manufacturing sector. And as can the United States, over the next few years, want to focus more on developing their manufacturing center, particularly with software chips, then this becomes an extremely important service. And the countries really want to make sure that this gets done quickly. So these networks are being built at a rapid pace, but of course, they need funding and money. And that's, of course, where you come in. But of course, this can work in your advantage. So in the United States, we have three major networks. Of course, we have AT&T, we have Verizon, and we have T-Mobile. All three of these companies are working hard to get their national 5G network completed. So what they need is cash, and they're looking to you to help sign up for their services. And what are they offering? Well, as you know, if you have a cell phone now, you're probably noticing that things are a lot faster. The networks are running really pretty darn quick. So they're able to offer you now a combination of home internet service, a landline, maybe a cellular line, and television service. So all these can be packaged in and offered to you as a bundle. And this is where the competition is really good. So now they know as you're leaving cable, and cable will be gone if it's not this year, next year, as you're leaving cable, they want to sign you up. They want to sign you up really quickly, and the competition in some areas is fierce. So you can get some incredibly good deals. In my case, I had the option of going from a cable service to a fiber service, and I saved $150 a month just with a little bit of work and looking at the options. So if you're going to, so where you can save the biggest amount of money is if you're moving from cable, you should be looking at wireless services and look at those big three for package deals. That is where the big saving is going to occur. Now, you may not say, in my area, it doesn't occur. Maybe you say, oh no, I asked AT&T and it works out about the same as cable. And that may be very true, but the competition is, if you're in a large urban area and all three have competing networks, the competition is amazing on what you're going to get. So remember that that's where you want to look. If you're on cable now and you're moving off cable, look for the wireless companies. Go to Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Look for their mobile internet service, and they will bundle it with all those other services, and you may get an extremely good deal. Now, the contract may be for 2 years, but then at the end of 2 years, look at other options that you have. So about a year ago, Rogers Communication, a wireless company, purchased Shaw Cable, a cable company which provided cable for all of Western Canada, west of Winnipeg, all the way to, of course, Vancouver Island, where I live. I had been a cable customer for over 40 years, but with a little bit of work and effort and looking at the competition, I was able to save $1,800 in 1 year on my internet cable phone package. In the image behind me, you'll see two connections to my house. You'll see the old cable connection and the new fiber optic connection. My plan is to capture the special they have for a full 2 years, and then maybe go back and look at cable and play the two off one against the other. I have both connections now wired to my house, and it's very easy to simply transfer from one to the other. So if you are on Shaw Cable, I would encourage you to look at TELUS, the fiber company, as a good option, and you probably are going to find some significant cost savings. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the Rogers takeover of a cable company. I suspect in the long term, they'll probably want to convert people over from Shaw's old cable system to their 5G wireless system. This will probably take a number of years, but let's see if I'm right on that one. So the reason for making this video is to say, look at the competition. Go out, explore your options for your communications services. This is a rapidly changing field, and there's opportunity to save a lot of money. And heck, as seniors, we need help, right? So do that. Look at the competition. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Make sure you give it a like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Have a great day.